This is the Clutch Picks Betting Podcast. My name is Sheldon Alexander. Thank you for tuning in once again to this lovely show that we put on for you each and every week during the NBA playoffs. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. Again, that's a Clutch Picks Sports Betting Podcast presented by Clutch Points. Like, follow, and subscribe, rate us, review us, all that other fun stuff. As mentioned, my name is Sheldon Alexander. And the big thanks to DraftKings, who, because of them, we continue to break down the NBA playoffs so far. I'm going to give you my series picks for where we're at now in the NBA playoffs. I'm going to give you a series pick and also a pick for whatever the next game is. So, as mentioned, big shouts to DraftKings for that, because without them, we wouldn't be here. So if you like your picks, you like what you're hearing, give us a shout, bless us online, rate us, review us, all that fun stuff, how you support the movement. That is this, the Clutch Picks Betting Podcast, and of course, myself, who is Sheldon Alexander. So we're going to go through each and every series as going down now as we are into round 2 of said NBA playoffs. And as mentioned, a pick for every game. We'll talk a little bit about each series and what the next game is in said series. There's only been one game won so far. A pretty solid NBA playoff so far, I should say, but I've been enjoying it. So let me know what you guys think as we go along here. We're going to go through and break down each and every series, and we're going to start off with Monday night's action, which is the Knicks at the Celtics. And, Knicks Celtics game 1 here. We got the Celtics favored by 9.5 points. I'm going to be taking the Knicks at plus 9.5 here. And this is a tough one, right? You got two storied franchises here battling it out, and I want this to go 7 just because I feel like the hype machine of seeing both of these fan bases and great home crowds, give me as much of that as possible, right? As much life and energy that'll be inside both of those buildings. It's just so incredible. So if we could get 7, cool. But if I'm making a pick here for the series, I'm going to be on the Celtics in 6 in this one, right? Celtics won the season series 4-0 this season. That included 3 blowouts and 1 OT win. Boston won the games by an average of 16.5 points. This after winning 4 of their last 5 meetings last season as well. So the Knicks are kind of undermatched here, right? Or overmatched here, pardon me. But I think the biggest thing to remember, especially going from last year to this year, this is why the Knicks made the moves of bringing in Karl Anthony Towns and bringing in Mikal Bridges. They made those moves because they felt to go at a team like the Celtics, they need to up their talent level. Now, has it worked out? Probably not as great as it should. But I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, right? Because I feel like the reasons why it hasn't looked as good as it should, I'm going to blame Tibbs for that. I think Tibbs needs to do a little more on the offensive end, and it's tough to critique because obviously Jalen Brunson looks great. 31.5 points, 8 assists, 4 rebounds in the playoffs, right? So far. And that includes a 40 ball he gave the Detroit Pistons in a hostile environment in game 6, including that series clinching shot where he hits Thompson with the crazy crossover, daggers a 3, just daggers the heart of Detroit Pistons fans. So Brunson is balling. The problem is, I feel like you need a little more than Brunson ISOs to beat the Boston Celtics, the defending champion Boston Celtics, right? So if you're going to go all ISO against the Celtics to win, the problem is the Boston Celtics, everyone gets buckets on their team, right? So to me, if you're the Knicks and you're going to win this series, you need more than just ISO Brunson. You need Cat to get buckets. You need Cat to get busy. You need Bodega Cat, as they were calling him earlier on in this season. You need Mikal Bridges, the Bridges that you gave up, what was it, 4 or 5 first-round picks when you include the swaps. You need that Mikal Bridges to show up on offense for you. You need the OG Anunoby that all Raptors fans continue to tell us he would be. That's the OG Anunoby you need in this series. It can't just be Brunson ISOs, or else it'll be a quick night, a quick series, pardon me, for the New York Knicks, because Brunson cannot do it all alone against the New York Knicks. But a lot of that will not be based on just him. A lot of that's got to come from coaching. down the stretch, you see the Knicks offense, like they could be out to a big lead. They could be, make a big run. And then in crunch time, the offense just goes stale. Everyone's just standing around. You can't have that against Boston Celtics or else you're going to get smoked, right? The Celtics, we know what their game is. They just bomb threes, right? With that said, I'm still not really used to this era of basketball where it's just a team is just saying, hey, we're going to outmath you and win that way by shooting more threes and hoping that our threes go in more times over a 7-game series than yours will. So with that, I think there obviously will be games where the Celtics lose just because their threes don't go in, and it's just really that simple. But I don't see that happening 4 times. I think the Knicks get 1 or 2 wins because of that. But again, too much shooting from the Boston Celtics, too much depth from the Boston Celtics. We've just seen the scoring being able to come from so many different places. Sometimes it's Derek White just bombing away. Drew Holiday will be back in this series as well. I don't know. It'll be tough. It'll be very tough because when the Celtics are cooking, it's going to be tough for the Knicks to keep up. As mentioned, I can't wait to just see any game in this series because the home crowds will be going crazy. But give me the Celtics in 6. More reliable help from the supporting cast beyond just Tatum and Brown. You got Kristaps making his way back into MSG as well for a big playoff matchup. That's going to be huge as well. Better reliable coaching. I think Tibbs is good on defense, but on offense, a lot to be desired for the Knicks offense there. I think his offense is going to get exploited here, and Boston just has way too many guys on defense that they could throw at Brunson to make him work hard. Whether you start off with Derek White or again, Drew Holiday, who will be back, Jaylen Brown, probably not, as he's dealing with the knee injury. So he's playing, but if you need to in some clutch possessions, maybe you do put Jaylen Brown on Brunson just because he's a bigger body. But either way, you just have so many options to tire out Jalen Brunson that I don't really see how people can think you're going to see Brunson be able to carry the Knicks through this series against the Boston Celtics. I just think it's too much to ask from Jalen Brunson. And for you to kind of change, if you're the Knicks, to change your way of playing right now in the middle of the series, that's a lot to ask. It just is. I honestly think the Knicks lose this series. Tibbs is out. You bring in hopefully a new coach that can give you a fresh perspective, because I think this team, there's more that you can unlock on offense with this team. I just don't know if Tibbs is the right coach to do that. And I mean, this is getting way too far ahead, but there's going to be the Kevin Durant talk. There's going to be the Giannis talk. There's going to be all these things that are going to be floating around. And I don't really think this team that they have is that bad. I think this team's good. I just think it's the offense is just too stale for me. And this is just a bad matchup offensively. It's been a bad matchup all season. As mentioned, average margin of victory for the Celtics, 16.5. So yeah, I'm sorry, Jalen Brunson, but in this one, we don't believe you. You need more people, right? I'm sorry. So as mentioned, game 1, sure, I think the Knicks keep it close. Give me Knicks plus 9.5. But for the series, give me the Boston Celtics in 6. I mean, we got lots more to go through for sure. But before we get there, it's playoff time. And if you're still just watching games, you're missing out. With Pick 6 from DraftKings, you can turn your hoops knowledge into real cash. Just make your picks, track your score, and if you hit all 6, you're looking at bigger payouts than Prize Picks Flex plays. Let me take a look at tonight's action and give you my Pick 6 for tonight. Give me Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with more than 32.5 points. Give me Nikola Jokic at more than 27.5 points. Give me Jalen Brunson for less than 27.5 points. And I'm going to go with Karl Anthony Towns, more than 19.5 points. Jaylen Brown, more than 20.5 points. And Kristaps Porzingis making his return to MSG in the playoffs. This is going to be big for him. Give me more than 17.5 points for Kristaps Porzingis. Nobody's dropping better payouts than Pick 6. Hit 6 picks, and that's 25 times your cash. And if you beat your competition, you could be looking at a 500 times bag in your pocket. And right now, new customers get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry. The playoffs are on, so why not take a shot at making a little money while you're watching? Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code CLUTCH. That's code CLUTCH to play $5 and get $50 in bonus picks. Better payouts, bigger wins. Only on Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. So as we get back into our picks here, you just heard obviously where I'm going with the Nuggets Celtics, or the Nuggets Thunder, pardon me. We'll move on and get to that series as well, as game 1 also tips off Monday night between that series. And listen, I can't wait for this series because it's a battle of the MVPs. And I think I can't wait for that one because, you're just seeing high level basketball. It's so funny, the NBA sometimes, because you watch certain teams and certain players play on good teams. And then there's like the whole other half of the league where it's like, wait, are they even playing the same sport? Right? Like, that's how I feel when you watch Nikola Jokic or you're watching Shea and you're just seeing what these two teams are able to pull off versus the rest of the league. This is going to be an awesome, awesome, awesome series, right? And first off, I'm going to start here, right? Nuggets Thunder, give me the Thunder in 6. But if you were to tell me that this goes deeper, I could understand that. I know a lot of people are just on the Thunder here, thinking the Thunder just walk through the Nuggets, and I get that. I understand. I understand where that thought process comes from. I do. But I'm just never going to go against Nikola Jokic to just get like smashed in a series. And I mean, there's just the championship DNA, I think, gets them at least 2 wins in this series. And even as we look at game 1, you got the Thunder favored by 9.5 points. I'm going to be rolling with Denver at plus 9.5 in this one. But you look at the season series, right? Season series, both these teams split 2-2. And as mentioned, you got SGA is the MVP. I know people tried to make this late season push and say that it's the Joker. And I understand that. I get that. But I feel like that's more so because of the hot take culture we're in, and people just need to have unique takes that they throw out every single day into these microphones as we're just overloaded with content. But we've never had to overthink MVP this much. Shea led the MVP in scoring. Led the NBA. Well, he also led the MVPs if he led the NBA. You get what I'm saying? Shea led the NBA in scoring at 32.7 points per game on 52% shooting. 52% shooting as a perimeter player? Are you serious? Come on, man. This for OKC, who put together one of the best regular seasons in NBA history at 68-14. We don't need to overthink this, right? It's great. I understand. Jokic, 29, 12, and 10. A triple-double. He did everything for his team. He put up crazy stats. I get that. I understand that. But when you have a team that was so far and away one of the best teams in your conference, and you had a dude leading the league in scoring on said team, we don't have to overthink that. We really don't. That's the MVP talk. But beyond that, and the reason why this series will be so interesting, to me anyways, is because people are still waiting to see what OKC is capable of in the playoffs. Their strength is defense and their depth, right? Bringing in Hartenstein is exactly for this matchup right now. You just needed someone to get in Joker's way. You're never going to stop the Joker, but you just want to make him work. And bringing in Isaiah Hartenstein has been a great addition to a team that lacked size, right? Because Chet having to bang bodies with Joker, or even trying to put Jalen Williams against him, I don't know if that, like, how much you like that matchup either. And again, Hartenstein's gonna get bodied in this series, but at least it's some form of resistance. At least it's something that the Joker's gonna have to work hard against. We saw versus Zubac, who put up great numbers against Joker and probably plays the best defense against Joker. He still couldn't stop him. So nobody has a chance. You're just trying to slow him down. You're trying to make him work hard. You're trying to have him exert a bunch of energy. Because the Nuggets are to win this series, it's going to be because of bully ball. You're going to need Aaron Gordon and Joker to dominate the paint. You're going to need to have this game be played slow paced in the half court, execute on offense, and win the rebounding battle and win the series that way. If you're the Nuggets, you do not want to get into a track meet with the Oklahoma City Thunder. You just don't. I don't know if there's a team in the league that wants to get in a track meet with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And it's not that teams try to do that. It's just the way that Oklahoma City plays. They almost like bait you into it with their defense. They're able to bring so many guys in off the bench that just pick you up full court. They're going to pressure your guards. They're going to force turnovers. And when they force turnovers, they get out and run and get easy buckets. And this is a different thing, right? The reason why people are waiting to see if OKC can do it in the playoffs is because for so many years, the NBA is about, hey, you get to the playoffs and things slow down and it becomes possession by possession. And while that is true, things have changed a lot. And there's been a shift where you can play fast. You can play this quick pace. I mean, we saw the Celtics win last year in a very unorthodox manner, just bombing away threes, something that we never really thought you would see consistently in the NBA playoffs, right? So things are different. But to me, if you don't own the paint as the Nuggets, then that means that you need to own the paint, and then you need Jamal Murray to ball out like he did in the championship run. You need Michael Porter Jr. to ball out like he did in the championship run. But I don't know how much you can really rely on Michael Porter Jr. He's very hit or miss. And you can't have more misses than hits at this point of the season because that equals L's. Beyond that, you're going to be asking big from Christian Braun and Russell Westbrook, which that is a big, big ask. You know, Russ is always fired up, right? Russ was so hyped up against the Clippers. And I mean, there's nothing better than watching him take that tech where he dunks it and just swings on the rim, daring the ref to call a tech after he already did it once. They didn't give him a tech. So he did it again and swung on the rim even more. And it's like, then he gets a tech and he's fired up and he's yelling to the crowd and he's talking about how they didn't choose me. They chose, what's my guy's name? Chris Dunn over me. So you know Russ is going to be fired up going back to Oklahoma City where he won the MVP, where obviously he had the great start to his career. The fans there love him. He still loves the fans, but he's going to want to show out. But again, that's a big ask. And if that's who you're relying on, you know, because you're relying on them to make plays. The thing about OKC's depth and the plays that you're asking their bench guys or their supporting cast to make, those plays are like open threes and play defense. And that's their success. Whereas I feel like the others for the Nuggets, like you need Murray and Porter to make plays. You need Braun and Russ to make plays. It's a little deeper than just hit your open shots and play defense because the Nuggets, if we're being honest, don't really play a lot of defense. They just don't, right? And you're playing against a team that does play defense, and that's where the problems come in if you are the Denver Nuggets in this series. OKC, they're young, they're deep. They had 9 guys averaging 13 minutes in that first round series. Like, that's just not a good recipe against the Denver Nuggets team that's prone to turnovers, that you're going to be asking Joker to do a lot, and the swarming defense, it's going to be on him. You're going to force other guys to make shots. Russ is going to be more than willing to take those shots, but can he make enough of them to make a positive impact? That's what's going to be most interesting to me to see if that plays out. Jamal Murray, he has a way of turning it on in the playoffs, but They have a lot of bodies that they're going to be able to throw at Jamal Murray. I mean, you got a guy like Caruso who could start on most teams in the NBA, and instead, he closes for OKC in most instances, but he comes off the bench and just locks down perimeter guys. This is a tough matchup, a very tough matchup. But again, give me OKC in 6 in this series. And in game 1, I'm going to roll with the Nuggets at plus 9.5 in that one. Again, a super tough series for sure. But I just think at the end of the day, too much depth for OKC. They just have too much depth. They play defense, and I will always, always, always roll with depth and defense in the playoffs. Although to have a chance, you need Jokic, and Jokic is going to go buck noodles. You're going to see some crazy stat lines from Jokic in this series because he knows that he is going to have to do everything for them to have a chance. Literally everything. Let's keep it going, though. We will move on to the Pacers and the Cavs. This will be an interesting series. We already saw game 1. Game 1 happened on Sunday night. Indiana won that game, 121-112, behind 23 points from Andrew Nembhard. Halliburton chipped in with 22 and 13. Interesting game there. A big win, obviously, for the Pacers to go out on the road and get game 1. But to me, I thought it really was what you really showed was how much the Cavs need Darius Garland, right? Like, it's one thing to have a really good season where you have guys in and out of the lineup and you can get away without one of your best guys. But in the playoffs, when you're playing high level talent and you're playing a team like the Pacers who like to get up and down and score, you need your bucket getters. And Darius Garland is definitely the bucket getter that is perfect for this series. And without him, the Cavs are in trouble. They definitely are. Him sitting out game 1 is interesting, right? He's dealing with the toe injury. You hope he can be back. With that said, I got Cavs in 7 in this series. I just think it'll be a long series regardless. I mean, even if Garland doesn't play, you saw the Cavs kind of start to figure some things out late in that game, which brought them back, brought the lead back. They even had the lead late in the game, but they kind of ran out of gas. And it's that age-old tale, right? You put up so much energy to get yourself back into the game that you don't have energy then to take the lead and sustain that towards the end of it. So that's pretty tough there. But again, Cavs were down for most of game 1. Crazy comeback. Donovan Mitchell led the way. He had 33. Mobley added 20 and 10. But they really need Garland. And he's missed the last 3 games with a sprained left toe. Listed as day-to-day at the time that I'm recording this. But you have to figure that he's got to give it a go at some point, right? Like, you can't be sitting on the sidelines. You got to at least try to play. I would hope, but we shall see. Again, the Cavs in the regular season were second in the NBA with about 16 threes per game, but just went 9 for 38 or 23% from 3 in game 1. Again, that's not having Garland. That's putting other guys having to slot up and play a different role. Ty Jerome, you're asking him to do a lot more scoring without Garland, but now, you're getting the matchup that Garland would have, you know what I mean? Instead of coming off the bench and cooking. So it's tough. It's tough. Without Garland, I don't think the Cavs can score with Indy. Indy is deep. They play fast pace. So if you're Cleveland, you might want to slow things down, right? You might want to slow things down and try to bully ball it. But I understand that's not how the NBA is played now. I'm still living in the past. That's not how things are going to be. They're going to try to run and gun. And with the run and gun, you need Garland. The other thing I will say is, with or without Garland, I mean, Mobley played well in game 1, but you're going to need buckets from him as well. He's got to be able to dominate the paint and score at will. And if there's no Garland, you need him to be in that 25 to 30 point range and have him be aggressive. And you saw points at game 1 where he was scoring, but you need a little more. The progression, the growth of Evan Mobley. I mean, obviously Defensive Player of the Year, which is cool. Great honor for sure. But I was kind of surprised. I see him getting his offensive bag a little there, and he's got some game there. That was pretty cool to see. Either way, I think it's a very long series. In game two, it's Cavs minus 10.5. Give me Indy plus the 10.5. I just think when you have a team that can score that well as Indiana can, I'm going to take the 10 points in a playoff game for sure. Definitely. But in the series, as mentioned, give me the Cleveland Cavaliers in 7 games. Mind you, I would love to know that Darius Garland is in the lineup if I'm laying my chips with the Cavs to win this series. And we got one more series to go here in the second round of the NBA playoffs, and that involves the Golden State Warriors taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Give me the Timberwolves in 6 in this series. Game 1, I'm going to roll with the Golden State Warriors plus 7.5. Now, this series is super interesting, right? Because the blueprint, if you think about it, you kind of just saw from the Houston Rockets where Golden State is susceptible, right? And that is if you play big, kind of like what we just saw the T-Wolves do to the Lakers. The Lakers wanted to play small. Golden State wants to play small. The T-Wolves were able to dominate that. And it got to the point where the Lakers' game plan was basically, well, if Gobert is going to beat us, we're going to make him have to beat us. And Rudy Gobert balled out. Now, is that a game plan you can trust for 4 games that Rudy's going to show up and look like prime Shaquille O'Neal? Probably not. But I think you're going to need a game or 2 from Rudy that's like that, right? I think you know what you're going to get from Ant Edwards at this point. And Julius Randle, he had a massive series against the Lakers. Can he continue that against Draymond and the Warriors? That'll be very interesting. We know what Draymond's going to be on. We know what time Draymond's going to be on because he only plays at one speed. The season series in this one doesn't really matter that much because, Jimmy wasn't there for half the season. And then, you had guys in and out of the lineup as Randall obviously was out for a lot of the season as well. Warriors won the season series 3-1. But again, that doesn't really matter. To me, Ant looking to lead his team to the conference finals for the second straight year. I mean, that's going to be huge. And this whole face of the league, it's interesting because for most of this NBA season, after the T-Wolves and the Knicks made that trade right before the season, right, where Cat goes to the Knicks and the T-Wolves end up getting Dante DiVincenzo, Julius Randle, right? It's interesting to me because everyone was down on this move for the T-Wolves, saying, you gave up Cat, you should have got more. And you kind of look at the trade now, and I mean, I said this at the time, so this isn't hindsight. I like this move for the Warriors. For the T-Wolves, pardon me. I liked it. I mean, Cat, at a certain point, first things first, this version of Cat that we saw this year, that aggressive, like angry Cat, I never seen that Cat before. And I think if that Cat existed in Minnesota, I don't think they would have traded him. But the problem was you didn't really see that version of him until he got to New York, until maybe he felt a little disrespected by the T-Wolves for trading him. He had a little pep in his step, right? He had a little extra added motivation. But on top of that, if you're Karl Anthony Towns, right, he goes one way, coming the other way. Everyone's so focused on Julius Randle. And Julius Randle has played a lot better than most anticipated, especially in that first round of the playoffs. But I really like this move for Dante DiVincenzo. He is a gamer, right? He is someone who's played in big games, who is not afraid of the moment, who can take some of the pressure off of Ant having to, just make all the plays down the stretch or hit big shots down the stretch, but also Mike Conley, who they've been relying on a little too much the last couple years. So now you're getting some help that can run your offense, but also like hit a big shot, make a play. But you've also heard Anthony Edwards, if you've been paying attention in the post games, talk about how valuable Dante's been for him in helping him read the defenses. Because a big part of the T-Wolves' success in that first round, and even late in the season, where in the West the playoffs started how long ago with all those teams jockeying for position. But you heard Ant talk about how much Dante's helped him just say like, hey, When you do this, this is how the defense is working. I'm able to cut. I'll be wide open. Like, look for this and just be able to help them. And that is so huge when you take a step back and you look at how good Ant Edwards has been beyond just the normal scoring. Because his shooting numbers haven't been as good in the playoffs as they were in the regular season. And that's, you get that because you're seeing a different defense. They're blitzing you a lot more. They're doubling a lot more. They're going to switch up whether they, sag on the pick and roll or whether they're going to blitz you, giving them a lot of different looks. And he's done a good job in trusting his teammates. And whether it's getting, the easy cuts to the basket or whether it's finding Julius Randle, letting him cook because, he doesn't lack confidence. So he's going to want shots. Naz Reid hit some big time shots for them against the Lakers. I mentioned already the Rudy Gobert game against the Lakers to ice that series. So I feel like watching Ant just grow and be able to develop and take that next step of understanding the game. And it's not just, I'm just driving wildly into four guys or taking fadeaways over two guys, like how I can manipulate the defense to get the matchups that I need to help my team succeed. It doesn't have to be just him putting on the cape, as what did he say? Ant-Man, Batman, Superman, Wolves in 5, whatever he said. It doesn't have to be that, but his personality is just, jumps off the page, jumps off the screen. And that video of him walking around Staples after the win, and he's just talking to fans and someone's asking him what his favorite movie is. And he says Matilda, and everyone's just like, wait, what? But he's actually being serious. He's talked about it before. He's just such a character. So you add in the character that he is, and I'll reference back to that clip from the Netflix doc where he's talking to Obama as if Obama's just like some regular Joe. Like, it's just, this guy's just incredible. But if you say this season, you're going to take down Steph, Draymond, and Jimmy, and that after you took down LeBron and Luka, and then last year, you know what he did to KD. I mean, listen, those are the GOATs of this generation. If you're Anthony Edwards and you got to go through that to get to a finals or get to the Western Conference Finals, that face of the league shit, it doesn't matter if that's what you want or not, because that's just what it's going to be. I don't know. I just think things are super interesting here. I'm rolling with the TWolves because I just feel like, the big thing is going to be Julius Randle. He's going to have to win his matchup against Draymond Green and not get into the Draymond shenanigans that Draymond's going to try to bring up, because I just think Ant Edwards has done such a good job in bringing everyone else in, but also you need Julius Randle to get those buckets. You need the consistent scoring from him. Can he keep that up in round 2 the same way that he did in round 1? That's going to be my first question. The second is, what do you do if you're the Warriors? Because we just saw how much they struggled against the big man lineup from the Houston Rockets, right? So we talked about Rudy, talked about Naz, talked about Randle. What is going to be the answer for Draymond and company? Because they struggled against Steven Adams and Şengün. Draymond was able to throw Şengün off a bit, but, that series was still right there. Obviously, it went 7, and the Rockets, blew it in game 7 at home. But that series was right there for the Rockets. The Rockets lost that series because they couldn't execute their offense and too much inconsistent scoring from Jalen Green, right? I don't know how much that had to do with the Warriors' defense, more so than just Jalen Green being Jalen Green and inconsistent, right? So that's a super tough one. But on the perimeter, you got Steph, and every team by now, you're going to have a Steph defender that you're going to throw out on Steph and just make him work hard for everything that he gets, right? So McDaniels will get a lot of those minutes. Nikhil off the bench will get a lot of those minutes. Dante will probably get some of those minutes. Maybe Ant for a possession here or there too. They got a lot of bodies they'll be able to throw at Steph and Jimmy. But the reason I like the T-Wolves, because I like their defense better. I like their depth better. And I just think they have more reliable role players. Like, you need Steph and Jimmy to go off every night for the Warriors to have a chance. right? Like Buddy Hield had to go crazy because Steph was struggling early, right? The defense was geared to stop Steph Curry in that game 7, and Buddy Hield went crazy early. But you can't really rely on Buddy Hield consistently to score. We've seen that. You know you're going to have a game or two where he goes off, but I don't really think that's consistent. You know, Steph and Jimmy, can they do it at this stage of their careers, night in, night out against a younger Ant-Man who's going to be ready for the smoke? Him and Jimmy, it's going to be great watching that matchup. He's ready for it. The T-Wolves are ready for it. I just think they play better defense. And when I look at what just happened against the Rockets, you know, the Warriors got a test, and maybe there's some things that they'll learn from it that they'll be able to bring into this series. But still, overall, I got to roll with the T-Wolves here. So let me recap all the picks here. I'll go back to the beginning and recap everything here. Give me, in game 1, Knicks Celtics. Give me the Knicks plus 9.5. But in the overall series, give me Celtics in 6. As we go to the Nuggets and Thunder in game 1, give me Denver plus 9.5. But in the series, give me OKC in 6. Game 2, Pacers, Cavs. Give me Indiana plus 10.5. But in the series, give me the Cavs in 7. And the Warriors and T-Wolves, give me the Warriors plus 7.5 in game 1. But in the series, give me Warriors in 6. It's been a great NBA playoff so far. And again, if you like what you hear here on this podcast, don't forget to like, share, tell your friends, message me. Let me know who you got in this series, who you like, what's been going good so far. Let me know. We want to be here. We want to be talking about sports and basketball all the way through. So I appreciate everybody tuning in to the podcast. You can find me on Instagram at Sheldon Alexander, or on Twitter at Shell Alexander. And as I always say, I used to pray for times like this, to rhyme like this. This is the Clutch Picks Betting Podcast. Remember, like, follow, subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and of course, YouTube. Clutch Picks Betting Podcast, as always, unpolished and unapologetic. Until next time, see ya.